Assalamu alaikum. Today we shall discuss positivism, which refers to a unique research philosophy that is very widely and popularly used around in almost all the social sciences. That is the second video on research philosophy. In our first lecture on philosophy, we learned the basic concept of philosophy and the basic role of philosophy in the research process. That lecture gave us the understanding that philosophy regarding research process refers to three steps or three components about which the philosophy gives us the belief. What is knowledge? In what form to capture and communicate knowledge? And what are the methods to collect data, store it and communicate knowledge? Meaning that the philosophy or any research philosophy, positivism or other research philosophies which are available, they have to give the researcher the foundation of three beliefs about what is knowledge, the belief about what is knowledge, the second belief in what form the knowledge is collected and communicated, and third, which methodology will be best suitable to collect that particular knowledge, store it, process it, and then communicate it onward. So any research philosophy has to give the researcher at least three beliefs, three basic understandings onto which the researcher will proceed to select the topic, to collect the facts and figures or knowledge, and then come up with the answers to the research questions. We shall discuss one aspect of the philosophy about research, not only positivism, but any philosophy. The questions in the research philosophy, as we said before, relate to what is knowledge, in what form the knowledge will be captured, and which method will be used to collect the knowledge. At the moment, there are two big beliefs or schools of thought about what is knowledge. We have also discussed this aspect or this answer to the question of what is knowledge in our previous videos as well. But today we shall repeat something that is critical to understand positivism, and that is what is knowledge. So I was saying that there are two schools of thought. One school claims that knowledge is the brainchild of human beings, meaning that the experts, professionals, researchers, and the writers, authors in different subjects, they are the people who generate knowledge, and whatever they say is knowledge because it is grounded in their research and in their investigations. While the other group claims that no, knowledge is not the brainchild of human being, it is rather something that exists away from the human being, and humans just go there and use their tools and techniques and observational methods to collect the knowledge. Now, these two are actually extreme views about what is knowledge. In practice, all the subjects in natural sciences as well as social sciences, they exist at the continuum between the brainchild and not brainchild extremes of the belief about what is knowledge. For example, according to experts, management comes somewhere in the middle of this continuum, saying that it is partially brainchild of human being, while partially it depends on the knowledge as believed which exists in the real world. Or in other words, we discussed in the previous videos that brainchild view of knowledge is more popular or more workable in the social sciences, while not the brainchild model of knowledge. It is more operational, more usable, more logical and sensible in the natural sciences. However, as far as brainchild of human being is concerned, when we talk about Einstein, for example, Einstein is the man who is a very well-known figure in the field of natural sciences. So whatever he said is believed as knowledge, or at least theory, which needs to be tested. So the brainchild of human being is the dominant view, because the books on different subjects, natural sciences or social sciences, they are not grown on the trees, and they are the things which have been produced by the human beings. So the role of human being in defining or deciding what is knowledge is critical and very decisive. So given that, positivism suggests that whatever is the source of knowledge, whether you believe it is the brainchild of human being or whether it is coming from the nature with the help of certain machines or observational powers of the researcher, it doesn't matter. Positivism suggests that whatever is suggested by the experts in the form of a claim, or the natural scientists in the form of evidence they collect through machines, whatever is suggested, it should not be taken as knowledge, rather a theory. And then we have to test it. And test it simply means that whatever they are saying, whether it is practical, is it usable by the human beings to solve the problems of their life or to address their issues of development. So if whatever is claimed by the experts or through the natural research process, it must be tested, and if it is proved that whatever is claimed is true, then it is knowledge for that particular situation, or in that particular situation where this claim was implemented or used practically. So positivism gives a third option. Instead of believing whether it is brainchild of human being or it comes from the nature and humans are separate from the knowledge, instead positivism suggested that whichever is the source, then test it in the real world, and if it succeeds, then it is knowledge for you, and if it fails to achieve the objectives that were expected from that claim, then it is still a theory for that particular person. So the positivism gives us a set of beliefs about the research process, saying what is knowledge, whatever can be verified is knowledge. In what form to capture and communicate the knowledge? In the form of concepts or terminologies. The word concept have been discussed at length in our last video about qualitative data collection. And third, belief about how to collect the data, store it, process it, and communicate it. Positivism suggests that scientific methodology or methodology based on scientific methods will be used to collect and store and process and further communicate the knowledge. So positivism says that first go to the experts and ask them about what are the definitions of the variables in your selected research topic. Ask them what are the relationships between these variables, what are the logics behind the relationship of these variables. So whatever they suggest, it is taken by the researcher as a theory of the topic selected, and that theory is actually the claims by the experts, and we convert it into a theoretical framework. Now, in our previous videos, theoretical framework have also been discussed in two videos. Theoretical framework refers to the set of variables and their interrelationships, either explained textually or graphically like that. Self-confidence, for example, we are using this example in our previous videos, that self-confidence positively affects the employee performance. That is the claim or theory by the researchers, by the people who are expert in the field. A researcher like MPhil PhD scholars, they go into the library and visit different scholars to learn about what are they saying about what is self-confidence, what is employee performance, and how are they related. So once this model is developed from the literature, in other words, this is the answer to the research question, big question in the research topic. The topic, if it is self-confidence positively affects employee performance, the big question is whether self-confidence affects employee performance. After going through literature in initial study, then preliminary study, and then main study of literature review, we come up with the theory or with the set of claims about our selected variables and their interrelationships as prescribed by the scholars, experts, or researchers. So in other words, that is knowledge according to their claims. But for us, it is not knowledge, it is rather a theory, because we have no idea whether that stands as such in the situation wherein we are going to conduct the research. So after that, testing of the claims takes place in the form. We have discussed these things in previous videos on data collection, numerical data collection, that the concepts are converted into measurements and a questionnaire is prepared to collect the numerical data, and which is processed descriptively to know about the variables themselves, and inferential tools and techniques are used to measure the relationships between the variables. Whatever are the results, they give us the information that how far the claims or the hypothesis or the theory has been verified by the results from the field survey or from the survey of the people who are concerned with the topic researcher has selected. So whatever is verified is knowledge in this context. In this context means that the stakeholders are the situation where the researcher is working, and whatever is not verified, rest of the results are just theory, which means that the theory is, as suggested by the experts, it is not totally knowledge in that particular situation, rather some of its portion is knowledge, but while rest of the theory is still not contributing as a knowledge in the performance of the organization. It shows that whatever is verified is knowledge, and the organization has to continue this portion of the theory. But whatever has not been verified, it is still theory, and the organization is given proposals, suggestions, recommendations by the researcher to work on these variables as well as their relationships. So, to conclude our discussion, we will comment that positivism is a very simple and very common sense research philosophy which suggests that whatever is the source of knowledge, it needs to be tested, it needs to be verified, and it has to go through the test of practical applications. And positivism also suggests that it doesn't matter whether you are using qualitative tools and techniques or numerical or scientific tools and techniques. It is all the part of scientific behavior, scientific method of conducting research. Therefore, the social researchers must use both qualitative as well as quantitative tools to answer their research questions more comprehensively and with more powerful evidence. So that is the end of today's lecture. Khuda Hafiz.